Next, let's look at one more improvement that we can make to our game before we move on to the next examples where we start to look at databases. So in our index.php file, let's go ahead and open that. Again, we're in the text adventure folder inside of our examples folder. The goal of this page is to render the output for the game so that a user can actually interact with it. Now, the one thing that we could do to improve this is to wrap this code here in a function, and that would give us the ability to use this code in various scenarios. So right now, the code can only be used on this one page. If we want to use it on another page, or we want to integrate this with an existing website, we're going to have to copy this code and paste it in the page. Now that doesn't seem super efficient, so we're going to make one slight improvement here and wrap this code in a function so we can use it wherever we want. What this does is complete the process of wrapping our code into functions. Right now, this is the only code left that isn't inside of a function, so once it is, we can cleanly use any of the functionality for our script for other purposes. So I'm going to jump back to our text adventure game folder, and in the steps folder here, I'll open the third step, which is functions.inc, render page as function. I'm also going to make sure to open up the functions.inc file, which is our original file, and I'm going to copy the step file over the current functions.inc file and save it. If we scroll up to the top, then we see that there's a new function here called render interface. If we compare this to our index.php file, it looks very similar. We have a start adventure session, we check the post command variable, and then we render our interface. If we look at the new functions.inc file, we see we start our session, we check for the post command, and then we save our interface into an output variable and then return that. Now you've already seen in a couple of different examples where we can add some power to our scripts by returning output as a variable instead of printing it directly to the page. That way, whoever uses this function has a lot more control over where they display the output. So now, the only thing we have left to change is our index.php file, where we're going to call the function now instead of outputting directly to the browser. I'll go ahead and jump back to the steps folder here and open up the fourth step, which is called index.php render page as function. I'll copy this and paste it over the code in the index.php file and save it. Now if we look at this, the code is a lot simpler. We only have a few lines. We're including our functions.inc file like we were before. We have a heading tag and a little bit of information above the interface, and then we're calling the render interface function in order to display the interface. So now you can embed this game anywhere on your website where you want to distract people a bit. For example, on a contact form where they've selected that they have a complaint. Next up, we're going to talk about databases. Databases really increase the power of what you can do with information on your site. It's an essential part of the way that Drupal works, and learning how to store information in a database and pull that information back out again in a variety of ways will add a lot of power to any application that you build.